All right. So homework 30, move the board up a little bit, starts out with graphing a parabola that's in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Before, when you graphed the parabola, it had some parentheses and you had to figure out what the shift was. The whole key to this one is figuring out where's the center of my graph so that I can make my table and plug my numbers in to solve. So to find the center, you're going to use this formula. X equals negative b over 2a. The a, b, and c come from our coefficients like when we use the quadratic formula. So here the a is going to equal 2, the b is going to equal 4, and we don't really need the c on this one because we don't have the c in this formula. We just have to mark the a and the b. So when we plug them in, we're going to have minus, and in for the b value we have 4, over 2, and in for the a value, we have 2. And then we want to simplify that fraction. So we're going to have minus 4 over 4, which equals negative 1 when we simplify. So that's where the center of our parabola is going to be. That's going to be the middle x number, negative 1. And if you remember from when you graphed a parabola with Jane, they had you do 5 points. You need 2 on each side of that. So if I go backwards, negative 1, 0, and 1 would come before that. And then negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3 would be the next 2 numbers after that.
Oh, well, that's easier,
Okay?
I think.
Well, now what we have to do is find our y values for each of those points. So you're going to grab your calculator.
Oh.
Because now we got to plug each of those numbers in for our x's and solve. So, we're going to start by using the 1. We're going to have 2 parentheses 1 squared plus 4 parentheses 1 plus 7.
Thirteen.
13, okay? Now we have to put zeros in our parentheses. So I'm going to change my 1s to zeros. So 2 parentheses 0 squared plus 4 parentheses 0 plus 7.
That's 4.
It is not.
It's not. What did I do wrong?
I don't know.
2, 0, squared, plus
4 parentheses 0
0, plus 7. Oh,
7.
7.
That's what I got. Because if I have this times 0, it's going to be 0, and this times 0 is going to be 0, so I just got the 7 on the end. All right. Now, guess what we got to put in there?
Negative 1.
Negative 1, exactly. So 2 parentheses negative 1 squared plus 4 parentheses negative 1 plus 7.
5.
5, okay? Now we got to put our negative 2 in. Eraser wants to erase bigger than I want it to erase. 2 parentheses negative 2 squared plus 4 parentheses negative 2 plus 7.
7.
7, and then our negative 3 goes in there. And 13. And we knew, because we were graphing a parabola, that these 2 answers should match up, these 2 answers should match up, this should be in the middle because it has to make that U shape, right?
Okay.
So if your numbers aren't matching up here, you type something in wrong. Now you can either use your pencil tool to plot them or that plot point tool and type your ordered pair in. We obviously here have to use our pencil, but on the computer if you want to use the plot point tool, you can type them in that way too. So 113 over 1 up 13, 0, 7 over 0 up 7 should be right on our Y line right at 7. Negative 1 is up to 5. Negative 2 is up to 7, and negative 3 is up to 13. And then when you hit the graph button, you're going to have your skinny U shape on that one, if I can connect my dots. And it's going to look like that, right? Because parabolas look like U's. So the whole key to starting this one is using this formula so you can figure out where's the middle of my graph at so you can get your table made. All right. All right, so if we have y equals 3x squared plus 12x plus 7. Now I hid my pen. Where did I lay that down at? That blue one? Over here. Here we go. Okay, let's start this again. So, to find our middle value, we have x equals minus b over 2a. A we said was 3, and b is going to be 12 then, right? So, putting that into our formula, what would we have?
12 over 2 in parentheses 3.
Now, what's going to be on the top?
12?
Not 12, but
Negative?
minus 12, because there's this minus in the formula. So it goes in like this,
Oh, okay.
which makes it negative 12. So we're going to get negative 12 over 6, which equals
2? Negative 2?
negative 2. So that means in our table, our middle number is going to be negative 2. So 2 points above that would be,
3 and 4. Negative 3.
well, that'd be down, but we can do that. Negative 3 and negative 4 would be going down.
Okay, 1 and 0.
Negative 1 and 0. All right. Now let's see if our numbers come out better. So we're going to start by putting 0 in. So 3 times 0 squared plus 12 times 0 plus 7. Is a 7. That's a lot better number than 50-something. All right, now we got to put our negative 1 in. So 3 times negative 1 squared plus 12 times negative 1 plus 7.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Now we get to put our negative 2 in. So 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 plus 7.
Negative 5.
Negative 5. And then we're going to put our negative 3 in there.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And then we're going to put our negative 4 in there.
Seven.
7. And we can see that these two match up and these two match up, so that looks good in our table. So now we can plot our points. 0 over up 7 should be right on our y line at 7. Then we have negative 1, negative 2, so over 1 down 2. Negative 2, negative 5. Negative 3, negative 2. and negative 4 is up at positive 7. And when we connect our dots again, we'll have that big skinny U shape called a parabola. All right, we'll try number 3, see how that one works out for us. So, what should we start out with? How should we do number 3?
X equals negative e, we're going to a. So a is going to equal x squared?
What number's in front of there?
Uh-uh.
What's the number that's in front
Oh,
if there's
1.
not? So it's a negative 1x squared, right?
Yep.
So A is negative 1, and B would be 8. So plugging those into our formula, we would have,
Negative 1 over,
we would have what?
negative 8.
Negative 8 over,
Negative 8 over 2, negative 1.
2 times negative 1, yep.
Negative 1.
So on the top we're going to have negative 8. On the bottom we're going to have
2.
negative 2.
2.
And so if we have negative 8 over negative 2, we would get
Negative 4.
not
I mean,
negative 4, positive 4.
Positive 4.
Because we have a negative over a negative, right?
Yep.
All right, so that means in our table, 4 is going to be the middle numbers. Middle number. What other numbers should we put in our table?
3 and 2. And then 5 and 6.
Exactly. So now we got to plug them in. So if it helps to put the 1 there, you could do that. Negative 1 parentheses 2 squared plus 8 parentheses 2 minus 18. Otherwise you could just use the negative sign. You don't really need the 1.
Negative 6.
Negative 6, sounds good. Okay, now we got to put a 3 in.
Negative 3.
Okay, and we got to put our 4 in.
Negative 2.
2. Then we got to put our 5 in.
Negative 3.
And then we have to put our 6 in.
Well, we just say negative 6.
It will be. It should be. All right. So if your numbers aren't coming up right, either you punched something in wrong, or maybe you made a mistake up here in your calculation and you have the wrong middle number. But otherwise, if they're coming up and they're matching up, then you should be good. 2, negative 6. 3 is at negative 3. 4 is at negative 2. 5 is at negative 3. And 6 is at negative 6. And that time my parabola goes upside down because my leading coefficient was a negative number instead of a positive number. Right? We had a negative out here in front that flips it so it goes upside down instead of right side up. All right. So I don't know why they put that graphing a parabola in chapter 3 when all the other parabolas were in chapter 2, but they did.